Isaiah 41:10 says, "Do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." What's up, you guys? It's Josiah. Today's topic is gonna be about isolation. I'm more specifically saying that isolation isn't technically a bad thing. Being alone and isolation are two completely different things. So with with isolation, you kind of choose it to reflect and benefit from your life. Loneliness, on the other side, is more of a harmful thing. You're missing out on your social life, and you're not really growing because your social skills are essential to growing in today's world. So with isolation, you kind of just personally for me, when I first started doing isolation, and mine was more or less May of last year, June of last year, when I really looked back, right when I got home from college, and I really looked back on how my past year was, or how my life was at the time, I should say, and I decided that I need to change things. Now, the first thing that I did, and I would do this again next time when I go back into isolation or whatever, when I choose to do so, it's just kind of like a reflection. So at the time, I wasn't nowhere near to who I am today, and that's in a negative way. Looking back, I am very ashamed of some of my decisions. However, if it wasn't for those decisions, I wouldn't be able to be the person I am today. There's a lot of lessons that I learned, and my bad if you guys are having trouble hearing me. It is pretty windy out, but the first thing that I would do is just kind of like a reflection on who I am at the time, who I am now. What are things that I am doing that are well, and what are things not so good? What this basically allows you to do is pick and choose what things you want to work on, what things you need to improve on, and what things you just need to get out of your life. Apart from the whole isolation part. But what this also allows you to do is just kind of understand who you are and what you value. And this is also key to becoming the person that you want to be. Because if you're doing something that you just don't want to do in the future, or know it won't lead you to a better route in the future, then why are you doing it? And it's really hard for us to understand that and realize that when we're around a crowd, when we're around the pressure, when we're around all this quote-unquote noise. So being able to be alone and just isolated from your whole social life and just really reflecting on you helps you decide what it is that you actually like and what you don't like. So another thing that also helps me, that I also learned from and it helps me now, is my productivity. Now, when I was, before I decided to do some time to myself and learn and reflect on my life, I was really not following a very productive lifestyle. It was more of a pleasure-driven lifestyle, and it's not that's obviously you can have fun, obviously you can make memories and whatnot, but you can also make memories while being productive. And for me, it was just the way that my life was. There was no balance to it, with it being also a productive lifestyle. So I had to change that, and being able to be isolated helped me realize what I needed to do and how I needed to become more productive, in what ways. For example, I wouldn't be really waking up early. I wouldn't be going to the gym. I wouldn't be really eating healthy. I wouldn't be reading any scripture. I wouldn't be trying to help people out. And now I am trying my best. Even if it's one person, I do not care. But now I'm able to have a gym routine. I'm able to eat more healthier. I'm able to care more about my health. And another thing that also helped, another thing that I also learned that improved when I was alone was more of my creativity. When I was, obviously I was in college, and everybody's path is different. For me personally, I don't want to really have a boss. I want to be able to be my own boss, and I want to be able to basically instruct my whole lifestyle. Now, with that being said, a factor that I really grew on while I was alone was my creativity. Because before that, I was just taking the college route and just being content with having a 9-to-5, and that's okay. If you have a well-paying 9-to-5, if you're just happy in life, you know what I mean. If you're happy with a 9-to-5, that's fine. But that's another thing that I was talking about, is just you really get to learn yourself. And in this time, I really learned that that's not who I want to be. I don't want to have a 9-to-5. I don't want to be told when I can, have some time off of work, what days I have to work, what times I have to work. I just want more freedom. Now, the creativity part really came into play within 3 months, not even, maybe 2 at most, actually, of me just, having this isolation time with myself. And I started to think of ways on how I can not have a 9-to-5 in the future. And I'm still trying to really have a sure method, a reliable method of that. That's besides the point. It really helps you just think of ways on how you can become the person you want to become without all of those people pressuring you and not instructing you, just trying to give you some advice on what you should do in life. Because at the end of the day, if you don't have a relationship with yourself, then you're not going to be able to have a positive relationship with anyone else. And now, another thing that comes with that, more of that productivity, but another thing that comes with another key factor that comes with isolation time is just your health, and more specifically your mental health, just really skies through the roof. Now, I'm not saying that I was depressed or anything like that before I did some isolation time, but it really helped me just become content with who I am. And obviously I can this is one thing that I like to just really when I reflect back on my life and think how I want my life to look. It's not that I'm not happy with my life, because I'm very happy with my life. I mean, God has given me days, and that's a blessing. I can never really match up the gratitude for that, because there is no way of showing gratitude to that other than saying thank you and praying. However, I'm not satisfied with my life, if that makes sense. I always want to achieve more, and I'm always going to want to achieve more, no matter how far my road is, or no matter how great I become. And that kind of helps with my mental health, because it was just kind of from being okay with being average to knowing that I can become something great. How do I achieve that? And some of the things that helped me with that was just kind of starting to go to church by myself. My family, my family isn't really much churchgoers, but they, they support me and whatnot, and I'm grateful for that. But I just go to church by myself, and that really helped me read scripture. It helped me give me advice on certain situations that I was dealing with at the moment. Mental health was not something I really was down on, but more of, I can always improve. So that's what I'm trying to get at. And another this upcoming topic was something that before I was really not good at. I mean, to this day, like, you know what I mean? Like, I've definitely gotten way better, but it can always improve. But that's anything else, really. But it is my decision making. When I was away at college, and even before that, my decision making just was not the best at all. And it was nowhere near what it is right now. Now, when I was able to really spend some time by myself and reflect and realize who I want to become, I took into accountability that every decision that I make, from no matter how small, no matter how large that decision is going to play into effect if I do become that person or not. And having this like sort of responsibility on myself, you know, it's a heavy role, yes, but it really is simple. You know, it's just kind of like there's always two ways to think about how a certain situation can play out: a positive way and a negative way. And those positive ways or negative ways all depend on who you want to be, who you are at the moment. So I was not making the smartest decisions like this when I was, you know, before my isolation moment, but now I've definitely improved on it. And it's helped me build connections. It's helped me, you know, build a relationship with myself. It's helped me just become a better person. And that's what matters to me. I mean, it helps. It's definitely taken me a step closer to becoming someone that I want to be. Not there completely, but like I said, I'll never be fully satisfied. I'll always want more. But you know, a step closer is a big thing. So it's definitely helped me, and then I've definitely taken a step in the right direction. And this is how like important, and this is why it's so important to reflect on your days or your weeks and just think about all those decisions that you've made. And obviously if it's like weekly, you're not going to think about the smallest decisions, you know, but just think about those decisions that you've made in that time, and think about first of all, think if they were positive decisions or if they were negative decisions. And if they're negative decisions, just think about how you can do a little tweak, or if it has to be a complete 180, think about the next time you're confronted with that type of pressure or that type of situation, and how you can, you know, change and show that you've actually grown. And that's what it is. It's really that simple. If you can reflect, learn, and take an action, that's so much progress right there in itself already. So another thing that I learned when I was alone was learning that no one will really ever be there for you. And this is another topic that I'll talk about in the future, but you just kind of have to learn that you're not going to get stuff handed to you. And a part of me already knew that beforehand, but I never really took an accountability like, oh, I'm already about to be at the time I was about to be 19 years old, but I haven't really like shown any effort into actually trying to improve my life. And it's not until I take that step that, you know, I can learn more things, because it's kind of like I'm at a hold, and there's only so much that you can progress in with your life if you're doing all these bad habits. And for me, that's what I was doing. I was having really bad habits. So not only does this like help you off in the future, but it also helps you with things such as like your confidence. And that's something that I really did lack in the past. And sometimes, you know, just being I'm still getting used to the camera, so I got a little shy. But just it helps you with your confidence. It helps you with having people depend on you. And obviously, you can't help everybody. You can't save everybody. But you can have these people depend on you, and you can either look at it on one or two ways. You can look at it as, oh man, all these people depend on me, like what am I gonna do? Why do all these people depend on me? You can look at it as a burden, or you can flip it, or you can look at it on the other side, and you can just be like, all these people depend on me, I can't fail, I can't let them down. And that's gonna push you to become a better person. It's gonna push you to really achieve greatness. And I mean, these are just simple things that like I've learned, and just main topics that I've learned during my isolation time? And will I have another moment in my life where I go into like isolation for a couple months or maybe a year? Definitely, I will, because I've learned, and I know in the future, when the moment comes, I will learn again, and I will learn even more, and it's just gonna help me overall. The most important thing, though, is to know that there is a difference between isolation and loneliness, and isolation isn't forever. Loneliness doesn't have to be forever. That verse that I read from the Bible in the beginning proves that you're never really alone. I don't know if you believe in God or not, but God is always with you at your side. Make the most of everything. Thank you.